guys, welcome back to another episode of Singaporean Talks Money. So today I want to share on how you can save money on a low income and how saving is the foundation to managing your finances. So inflation has been crazy. However, wages in general has not matched inflation. If your increment matches, then congratulations. But I would guess for the majority and for me, my salary has not matched up to the inflation level we have been seeing since the end of 2021 till now. Of course, even individuals with a high income have mentioned that they have been cutting down on expenses in order to save or to pay the bills as prices increases on petrols and cars and generally everything. This is not to say that the lower income earners are not as affected, as daily necessities like food, drinks, and groceries have been increasing at a scary rate. Every time I visit the hawker centres, the prices all have a sticker over it, and it shows a new price. I understand the hawkers or food establishments as raw materials have gone up quite substantially too. So we'll have to live with it while working to increase our income. In the meantime, spending money on necessities and paying our bills are in need, and we have to do that to survive. How then can we survive and even save money while on a low income? It has been tough looking at my investments nowadays, so I have just been skipping that and letting my automated purchases do the job. On the other hand, I have more time to occupy myself to maybe relax and write more as well. So let's get into the main point today, how to save money on a low income, or maybe just to save money generally. The first thing is to manage the number of times you eat at a cafe or restaurants. Restaurants and cafe prices are high and on average can easily go beyond $20 per pax, and even more after accounting for GST, service charge, and if you get a drink along with your meals. If you are able to manage the number of times you go to a restaurant or cafe per week or per month, this can really help in your finances. There was the cafe fever a while back, and everyone was having a group brunch during the weekends or even weekdays. But actually you are able to assemble a nice breakfast at a much lower price at home. Alternatively, there are affordable options that you can opt for rather than cafes. Of course, the occasional indulgence is alright, especially if you can afford and enjoy it. But you can limit it to maybe twice per month and maybe visit restaurants only on special occasions. Cooking at home is also great, especially if you have a family. Although groceries have increased in prices, it is still much more affordable than visiting a restaurant for meals every weekend. Next important tip is to cut down on taxi rides or ride-hailing services. This is a huge factor as well if you tend to use ride-hailing services often. This convenience will become a habit once you get too comfortable. What's worse is that you would be subjected to the peak hour surcharges if you work 9 to 5. And the mornings and evenings are when the surcharges are high. So for my family, we have always practiced using public transport. We have just been using public transport. And in most days, we plan our day with public transport, meaning to leave home earlier if needed and to search for public transport routes. Ride-hailing has made things so convenient, especially so when you can just input your credit card details in and payment is made without you noticing. Hence, it can build up easily. The pandemic has also made ride-hailing the preferred choice as you reduce exposure to the people that you meet. But the cost is really high and it doesn't make sense to ride a taxi every single day unless you have a lot of disposable cash. For example, you did not buy a car, but I'm sure the money can be put to better use. So let's talk next about doing less shopping or buying. Similar to the first 2 points, it is a choice of wants or needs. It is alright to get clothes once in a while to ensure you look presentable, but make choices on outfits that can be used more often and in your daily life. I have to admit that my fashion sense sucks, and I don't really pay much attention to what I wear. And I know certain jobs require a good closet, but you can choose items that can be worn more frequently and are comfortable. So similar to buying clothes, buying other stuff might seem essential at the moment, but always give it some time and you might realize you do not need it actually. Sales and promotions might look attractive, but it doesn't mean you have to get it just because it's on sale. The next tip is to start saving small and it will slowly grow. One example is that you can save $27.40 per day to get $10,000 in a year. So the most important thing is get started. And if you feel uncomfortable investing as you want to keep a sum to put aside first, besides your emergency fund, then do so, but remember to start investing once you have saved enough. Of course, most of us have to start saving first. For example, building up your emergency fund or have a bucket of extra spending money, especially if you have liabilities like maybe your mortgages, any big bill payments. Saving is easy for some, but might be tough for others. And automating it is the easiest. It is important to cultivate the habit of saving, as it is the foundation to building wealth. After saving, then would you look at making your remaining money work for you. So just like what I mentioned before, putting aside $27.40 every day for a year will get you $10,000. $10,000 is a substantial amount if you just started working, and I can still remember my excitement when I first managed to achieve that. I even went over to my mom and proudly told her about it. Once you have cultivated the habit, it gets easier over time. The next tip is to budget your salary and follow through on it. I've mentioned this in my previous article. Do take a look at it if you're interested. So I understand that definitely it's tough to live on a tight budget for a prolonged period of time. And it's also important to let loose once in a while, although don't be too crazy. And ultimately, you have to learn to increase your income if you find that it is not enough. Being able to save is a privilege, especially so if you are young with no huge commitments and earning a comfortable amount where you can put aside a sum. It might be tough in the beginning when you start. My first starting salary was $2,700 and I took home about $2,160. It was livable, but my savings amount was small. It slowly built up as my income increased over the past few years. Increasing your income helps a lot as you realize you can expand your savings or investments with the additional amount. So it is also important to try to increase your income if you find that the amount is limited for you to save. I hope this has been helpful to you. See you in the next one.